Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the universal instruction manual for life itself. We're going to uncover the fundamental blueprint that builds every single living thing you can think of, from a tiny microscopic cell all the way up to the most complex creatures on Earth.
So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start at the very bottom with the cell, the foundation of it all. Then we'll look at the big split between animals and plants. After that, we'll see how these things stack up, layer by layer, and finally, we'll walk through the actual assembly instructions for building an animal and then a plant.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're starting with the absolute bedrock of biology, the one thing that connects every single living organism.
This right here, this might just be the single most important idea in all of the life sciences. All living things are made of cells. Simple, right? But think about it. Everything that's alive, you, me, the tree outside, the bacteria you can't even see, it all starts with this one fundamental rule.
So what even is a cell? Now, our source material for this explainer is a Korean biology guide, so you'll see those original terms on the slides. A cell, or SEPO, is like the ultimate micro machine. It's not just a brick in the wall, it's the factory and the worker. It's the smallest possible package that we can actually call alive, and it's running all the tiny programs that make life, well, life.
Now, even though all life is made of cells, not all cells are created equal. You see, pretty early on, biology took a major fork in the road. It created two distinct models, one for animals and one for plants.
And if you look here, you can see they share a lot of stuff. Both have a nucleus, which is kind of like the command center. They both have a cell membrane acting as a gatekeeper, and mitochondria as their little power plants. But the difference is, that's where it gets really interesting. Plants have this rigid cell wall for support, which is how a tree stands up so tall. And of course, they have chloroplasts, these amazing little solar panels that turn sunlight into food. These two things right here, they're what really make a plant a plant.
Okay, so if life starts with just one tiny cell, how in the world do you build something as huge and complex as a person or a giant sequoia tree? Well, the secret is teamwork. It's all about how these individual cells get organized into something much, much bigger.
This is the basic architectural plan for all complex life. It's a hierarchy, a ladder. You start with specialized cells. They team up to form a tissue. Then, different tissues join forces to build a more complex tool, an organ. And finally, you get all those organs working together in harmony to create the whole show, a complete living organism.
And this idea is what makes something truly organic. It's not just a random pile of parts. It means every single piece, from the tiniest cell to the biggest organ, is completely interconnected. They're woven together into this inseparable whole where the entire system depends on every part doing its job.
All right, let's put this blueprint to work. First up, we're going to follow the instructions for building an animal. We'll use a person as our example.
Step 1, for our animal build, we start with a single specialized cell. In this case, an epithelial cell. Think of it as a tiny living tile whose main job is to cover and protect surfaces. Now you take millions of those little tiles and you put them together, what do you get? A sheet of epithelial tissue. Now it's not just one cell. It's a whole protective lining that covers surfaces inside and out. And here's where it gets really clever. An organ like the stomach isn't just made of one thing. No way. It's a combination of different tissues. You've got that epithelial tissue for the lining, sure, but you also have muscle tissue for churning food and nerve tissue for control, all working together for one big job, digestion. But for animals, there's one more critical layer. That stomach doesn't work alone. It teams up with other organs, like the intestines and the liver, to form the digestive system. It's like a whole department of specialists, all dedicated to the single massive task of processing food.
And that right there is the heart of the animal blueprint. An animal isn't just a sack of organs. It's a collection of these incredibly specialized systems, digestive, respiratory, circulatory, and so on, all running at the same time, all working in concert to keep the whole thing running smoothly.
Okay, time to switch gears. Let's look at the plant blueprint. The first couple of steps are going to feel pretty familiar, but I want you to pay very close attention because there is a major plot twist coming up in how they're put together.
Just like with animals, plants start with a single specialized cell, like an epidermal cell, which is basically its skin. And just like animals, these cells group together to form a protective tissue. So far, so good, right?
And here it is, the twist. Instead of taking different tissues and building a specific organ in one spot, plants do something different. They group related tissues into tissue systems that run continuously through the entire plant. Think of it like a plumbing system or an electrical grid. The dermal system, for instance, is the plant's skin, and it covers everything.
Plants basically have 3 of these huge systems. You've got the dermal system for an outer shield, the ground system that does all the work of making and storing food, and the vascular system. That's the plant's plumbing for moving water and nutrients around. And the key is, these systems run from the very tip of the root to the very edge of the highest leaf. They're continuous.
It's only after these big, continuous systems are in place that they come together to form the distinct organs we all know and love: the leaf, the stem, and the root. So every organ, a leaf, for example, is actually a place where all 3 of those tissue systems come together to do a job. So let's just boil it down to the one key difference between the 2 blueprints. For animals, the crucial level of organization is the organ system. You group whole organs together. But for plants, the key level is the tissue system. You group tissues into these continuous networks before you even make the organs. It's a subtle change in the assembly line, but it makes all the difference in the world.
Which leaves us with this incredible thought. We've just seen that all complex life is built using pretty much the same hierarchical plan. The basic rules of assembly are surprisingly similar. So the big question is, how can one fundamental blueprint create the absolutely mind-boggling diversity of life we see everywhere? From a mushroom to a blue whale. Now that is something to think about.